Hello dear viewers who are watching today's video. Thank you for always accompanying the channel on the journey to discover the real, emotional and challenging world of labor. Today, we will drift in the vast sea off the coast of Japan, where fishermen silently struggle day and night with the ocean to bring back one of the most precious products of the deep sea, giant squid. Unlike the image of modern technology ships or giant fishing automation systems, this trip takes us to a traditional and manual fishing profession. Catching giant squid with hand lines stretching hundreds of meters. A way of doing things that is both arduous and magical. Only those with strong hands, extensive experience and a love for the sea can do it every day. In the vast ocean, when the sun has not yet risen, each giant squid fishing boat of Japanese fishermen quietly leaves the port. On deck, the men are ready, their windbreakers are on, their fishing lines are neatly rolled up. Their ice chests are ready, and the bait, the most important part, is always carefully selected. Each ship is like a small fortress, facing the wind and waves to find the shelter of the most giant and fierce sea creatures, giant squids that live in the cold deep water. The work of fishing for squid with long lines is an extremely hard manual process. The fishing line is hundreds of meters long, can be 300 to 500 meters deep below the water surface. And is gradually lowered with hooks firmly attached in each section. The bait is usually small fish, alive or frozen, carefully hooked to maintain its naturalness, because if the bait is no longer alive, the smart squid will immediately ignore it. Light is the secret weapon in squid fishing. At night, high-pressure lamps are turned on all over the boat, shining down on the sea like a festival of light. The squid are attracted to the light, mistaking it for a gathering place of small prey. So they swim closer and get caught. When the giant squid bites the hook, the fishing line vibrates strongly. A fierce pulling force is transmitted back to the fisherman's hand. Immediately, the whole group of fishermen join forces. One person holds the line taut. Another person starts pulling the hand, round by round, while the third person stands ready with a large net or a hook to support when the squid reaches the surface. There are times when it takes the whole group more than 10 minutes just to pull a large squid, a body longer than 2 meters, with 8 tentacles as big as a human arm, spraying water, spraying ink, and thrashing wildly. Every time a squid is brought to the deck, a small battle has just ended. The fishermen were happy, but there was no time to rest. They immediately pulled out their hooks, prepared their lines to lower them, because if they were late, the squid would be gone. On board, another team was working tirelessly. The fresh squid processing team on the spot. The squids, after being brought up, would be classified. The big, heavy, and valuable ones would be prioritized to make premium fresh squid, while the smaller ones would be pre-processed, cleaned, cut into pieces, frozen or iced on the spot. The scene on the deck at dawn was a vivid and energetic picture. The early morning sunlight slanted through the sea mist. reflecting on the smooth skin of the giant squids scattered on the deck. mixed with plastic barrels filled with seawater and ice, where workers were carefully washing each squid. Everyone's hands were cold and soaked with seawater, but there was no complaint, only laughter when a particularly large squid was pulled up, or when one squirted ink into someone's face, causing the whole group to burst into laughter. Each day, a boat can pull in anywhere from a few dozen to over 100 squid. Depending on the season, the weather, and the skill of the fisherman, peak squid season usually begins in late spring to mid-autumn, when the squid move along the warm currents to spawn. At that time, the entire sea becomes bustling with dozens, even hundreds of boats operating at the same time, forming a giant formation on the water. Each boat is a warrior. Each person is a soldier, together hunting and harvesting the precious product that nature has given. There are summer nights when the sky is clear and the sea is covered in silver by hundreds of bright lights, reflecting on the sparkling golden water surface. In that space, each squid fishing boat is like a small world, where people and the sea blend together. Fishermen take turns working, each person taking on a stage, from preparing the fishing line, attaching bait, dropping the hook, pulling the fish by hand, collecting them, to cleaning, packaging and preserving, on the wet deck. Their feet cling tightly, their calloused hands move constantly, sweat mixes with the seawater, clothes are soaked, but no one stops. The cold at night at sea is not like on land. It seeps into the skin through each gust of wind. Each tiny drop of water flies from the surface of the waves to the deck. But the fishermen are all too familiar with that feeling. They keep their bodies moving to fight the cold. A bowl of hot noodles, a cup of strong tea, or sometimes just a few minutes sitting back in the cabin, is enough to give them energy to continue working. Processing squid on the ship is also an art. After being pulled up, if not processed immediately, the squid will easily spoil and lose value. Therefore, the processing team works almost non-stop throughout the night shift. The squid are cleaned of intestines, washed with seawater, skinned if necessary, and then classified by size. Some large ones will be kept intact to sell fresh to high-end restaurants, places that are willing to pay a very high price for freshly caught, fresh, unfrozen squid. Others will be sliced and deep frozen right on the ship using a modern freezer system, ensuring that the freshness is maintained even after hours of transportation to the mainland. Every morning when the sun rises, the ship quietly turns back to port. On the deck, ice boxes full of giant squid are stacked on top of each other. The atmosphere on the ship calmed down, replaced by fatigue mixed with satisfaction. After a long night of fighting the sea, they had completed their mission, bringing back a precious gift from the ocean. When the ship docked, each crate was transferred to the port, where traders and purchasing agents were waiting. The value of each trip could be up to hundreds of millions of yen, depending on the yield and quality of the squid. For fishermen, it was a worthy reward for the tiring hours in the wind and waves. Many people have asked, why not use modern machines to catch squid instead of manually pulling each line like that? The answer lies in the nature of giant squid. They live deep, are smart and alert. Too strong a pull from the machine can make them drop the bait or break the hook. Only human hands, with their sensitivity and dexterity, can feel the subtle movements of the deep. Know when to pull hard, and when to wait, and above all, for fishermen, fishing by hand is not only a profession, but also an art, a source of pride. That is why giant squid fishing has become a symbol of the perseverance and traditional spirit of Japanese fishermen. No matter how much technology develops, there are still people who choose to stick with the old method, because they believe that it is the hands, sweat and heartbeat of the fishermen that truly feel the breath of the sea. And because of that craftsmanship, each squid brought back has a unique value, not only as food, but also as the crystallization of honest labor and love for the deep sea. For hundreds of years, hand-line squid fishing in Japan has existed as a part of the soul of the sea. In coastal fishing villages, from the cold Hokkaido to the warm southern coast, the image of men pulling the line, pulling the squid back to the boat has become a familiar symbol. There are families where 3 generations are attached to the profession. The grandfather passes on the secret of tying the fishing line, choosing the bait, feeling the vibration on the line to the father. Then the father teaches his son how to pull the squid without breaking the whiskers, how to keep the squid from spraying black ink that spoils the meat. Every small detail in the profession is the crystallization of decades of experience and observation. In particular, there are sea seasons that only last a few months, when the squid migrate to warm waters, which is the golden time for fishermen to make a living. At that time, the whole village is like in the fighting season. Each boat is fully equipped. The mechanic checks the generator. The chef prepares food for many days at sea, and the fishermen prepare their equipment with the utmost care. Any negligence can cause the whole trip to fail. Squid fishing is not about catching a large quantity at once like pulling a net, but about accumulating each fish one by one, with real strength of the hands. With tireless patience. On each boat, time seems to slow down. The fishermen have no clear concept of day or night. They work according to the flow of ink, according to the flickering of light, and according to the vibration transmitted from the fishing line to the fingertips. Every time they feel a signal, their hearts beat faster. Is this a giant squid, or just a bite of a small fish? When the squid is really hooked, the whole boat is bustling, not only because of the yield, but also because of the excitement of feeling the obvious results of their own achievements. Giant squid is not only a valuable seafood, but also the main ingredient for many famous dishes in Japanese cuisine. Fresh squid, when brought back to the mainland, will be distributed to large wholesale markets in Tokyo, Osaka, and even exported to Asian and European countries. Sashimi squid, grilled squid, squid steamed with wine, or traditional dried squid, all originate from fresh squid caught from the deep sea. Consumers may never imagine the arduous journey to bring each squid to the dining table, but for fishermen, each piece of squid enjoyed is a silent pride. Besides the joy and achievements, giant squid fishing also brings many dangers. There are days when storms suddenly come in the middle of the ocean. Big waves drown out all sounds, leaving only the roar of the ship's engine. The fishing line gets tangled. The squid gets stuck but cannot be pulled up because the wind is too strong. Some fishermen lost their lives when they slipped on the wet deck. Some had their hands wrapped tightly by squid tentacles until they were purple, and had to be untangled in pain. Some squids were so big and strong that the line broke and the entire hook disappeared into the sea.